Yes, it does. It moves with no problems.
And we both have, loud mouths, but if you just move the microphone that close to you, that would be great. And if you see me do this, that means talking to the mic.
Gotcha.
Everything's been on lights on. Good morning, Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and thank you so much for joining me this morning on another show. You are tuned in to What's Going On, where we talk about what's going on in our community, across the state, across the nation and the world. Today we have great guests, we have a great topic. Many of you all know that I am a small business owner and have been a small business owner for about 15 years and am a strong advocate for supporting small businesses in our community. And so today's topic is all about small business development and two great opportunities for those businesses that need a little relief after the pandemic. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to What's Going On. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and we are here every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., right here on WTQT FM 106.1 FM. First and foremost, I want to give recognition and honor to someone that the world has lost, Mr. Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther, a phenomenal actor. He played Jackie Robinson, a phenomenal movie, and many other movies. And I do want to pay respect to this young man that left us too soon, but he left us with so much. And so, to his family and to all those around him, we send you prayers of comfort. And we wish him well in his transition and the next life, and we thank him for the contributions that he gave to us in our world. Again, Mr. Chadwick Boseman, thank you so much for what you contributed during your short time here on earth. Also, I want to give a shout out to everyone out there that is surviving and working and trying to make it through this pandemic, as well as these hurricanes that just crossed our state. To those in the Lake Charles area, we send you our love and prayers, and our thoughts and our actions and work. And so if there's anything that we can do to help you out there in Lake Charles, please connect with me and others. I plan on going out there next week to visit. I was very fortunate a few years ago to have been given a key to the city of Lake Charles because I did a lot of work there after Hurricane Rita under Governor Blanco. And so I'll definitely be heading back out there next week to see what I can do to serve our fellow Louisiana residents as they work to recover from the Hurricane Laura that passed through Lake Charles. While on top of that, we're still dealing with a pandemic. And let me give a shout out to our governor and our mayor for all that they are doing to keep us safe and to keep our communities and our neighborhoods and our city and our state moving forward. A lot is happening in our world today. And so we are grateful to be here to continue to make a difference. And we pray for everyone that's on this journey through life with us at this day and time. Again, today's topic is on small business development. And I've asked two of our hardest working economic development minds in the city of Baton Rouge to come and join me this morning because, again, many of our businesses are in need of some relief and assistance. I myself have applied for a couple of grants and thought the processes were very smooth. So thank you, and thank others who created those the processes, because sometimes a lot of small businesses are intimidated about applying for government grants and government loans and government assistance because of the documentation that is required, because of all the paperwork that's needed, and so I must say that the grants that I've applied for through my company, they've been pretty smooth processes. So thank you all out there that are working to make the application process for small businesses post the pandemic or during the pandemic relief efforts. And so, but first, we always do introductions here on the show. And so, Vineet, I'd like to start with you. Let folks know who you are, the position that you have, and the work that you do. Sort of give listening audience an introduction of who Vineet is.
Yeah, well, thank you, Dr. Gilmore, and good morning. Thanks for the show that you put on every day. Really important for the listeners to connect with the speakers that you bring on to really understand sort of sometimes the inner workings of how decisions are made,
and that's exactly why
which is important. And we joke in the mayor's office, especially in 2020, we wish there was an easy button and a fast forward button, especially in 2020, to get us to December 31st, so we can move on from this year. But I'm the mayor's assistant chief administrative officer. My focus is really economic development, small business, innovation. I lead two departments: information services, purchasing and procurement, and also responsible for our River Center, the Mayor's Veterans Commission, and the Baton Rouge Film Commission from an oversight perspective.
Okay.
So grew up in Baton Rouge, left in 1997. So I'm a proud product of Buchanan, McKinley, and Baton Rouge High.
Okay.
And,
all right.
Down the street. So Government Street in '97. We were thrilled when Domino's and Pizza Hut opened, and we're ecstatic that we've got more restaurants and more options. But I came back 2 years ago to help the mayor and her administration, and more importantly, the people.
Outstanding, and we're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you back here, Vineet. Jerry, introduce yourself, who you are, and the organization you represent.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Jones. I am the Executive Director of Impact North Baton Rouge, which is also known as Baton Rouge North Economic Development District. It is a political subdivision that was created through the hands of Senator Regina Barrow, and there is about 13.
Shout out to Senator Regina Barrow.
There's about 13 board members that I have the pleasure of serving. And so we are the leading organization in economic development in North Baton Rouge. We work with several different partners. Vineet is definitely one of our partners. We work with BRAC. We work directly, well, I was getting ready to say the mayor's office, but Vineet is the mayor's office. We also work with SBA, and we also work with the Louisiana Small Business Development Center at Southern University. And Southern University is definitely a strong partner of ours. We work very closely with them and understand the complexity that they deal with as far as funding and far as trying to attract businesses to surround them and support them. So we're at the table with them at all times trying to figure out how to help bring businesses and bring support to that institution as well.
Very good. So North Baton Rouge businesses and North Baton Rouge aspiring entrepreneurs, you have a resource, and it's called the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District. It's been here for a number of years. It's evolved. It's very active and engaged right now. You should follow the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District, also branded as Impact North Baton Rouge. Follow them on Facebook because they're there for you, the citizens who are interested in growing your businesses and growing your businesses in North Baton Rouge. And so definitely look up Jerry Jones and become engaged in the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District, Impact North Baton Rouge. Now, Vineet, and we didn't practice, or I didn't tell you what I was going to ask you, so
no, that's okay.
But you're a smart guy. I'm not worried about that. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're most proud of over the past 2 years as it relates to economic development in Mayor Sharon Weston Broome's office. Let's start there. What's happening in economic development in our city and parish?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. there's a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to be proud of from the fact that, and from the basis of what was happening before, right? So it's always, if you look at a picture and you look at a blank canvas, the before, and then what it looks like after, I think that's really important for people to really conceptualize movement and progress. And so, when I joined the mayor's administration, one of the first things that she said was, Vineeth, you need to help really drive investments in North Baton Rouge. That's one. So using public-private partnerships, working with folks like you, working with folks like Jerry and your constituents, how can we be creative? How can we look at the assets that exist in North Baton Rouge, and how can we really drive investment, job creation, and address issues around healthcare, address issues around small business development. And so Howell Place on July 9th, we re-inaugurated a largely empty medical office building.
Yeah, that Howell Place is right next to IHOP.
Yeah.
Which is right next to IHOP,
Yeah.
right? Which I think for 15 years had been star-crossed, right?
Yeah.
It had its ups and downs, and Dr. Okoba, who through and through had been the one consistent in that building, has been very successful in treating the patients in North Baton Rouge. But we spent several years really working with a variety of different stakeholders, from Councilwoman Banks to the business community. We found a new investor for the building. We worked extensively with Impact North Baton Rouge and with your board members, and we got that over the finish line. And
so what's there now?
What's there now? Construction is going to start happening.
Okay.
What's going to happen is Auctioner is going to set up their first North Baton Rouge primary care clinic in.
Shout out to Auctioner.
Absolutely. They expect to see 10,000 patients next year.
Wow.
And so they're going to look. I think they're starting in January, February in terms of seeing patients.
So Auctioner's coming to North Baton Rouge.
Auctioner is coming to North Baton Rouge to do primary care. They may look at doing dental work, right? Which I think is going to be.
But
key.
Definitely primary care.
Definitely primary care, which I think is most important.
That's a good win for North Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of. It's been, neglected healthcare wise for a number of years.
And I think what's important is when you look at overall development in North Baton Rouge, as you start to look at logos and brand names moving into North Baton Rouge like Auctioner, what it does is signals to other investors to say, if Auctioner is going to move in, I want to be a part of that ride.
Absolutely. It brings others. Yeah.
I want to be part of that ground level economic development and really be part of that growth curve that's going to exist in North Baton Rouge, because Auctioner is going to bring their own sort of network. Because of Auctioner and because of that building, Jerry and your team was successful in working with Councilwoman Banks in getting that, I think, that building across the street, the
restaurant. We're getting ready to do a restaurant. They're getting ready to do a restaurant development across the street at the old Bhutan.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of let the.
Sorry. That's my fault.
No, there's no problem.
We're
you first here of the year.
Yeah, right. We're among friends here in your audience.
No, this is good. This is good.
That's great. It's going to be an actual full service restaurant there, and so constituents who live in that community who always are looking for after hours, after lunch, after hours meals, they can actually go to an actual restaurant after hours. And one other thing, there are other restaurateurs that are helping to assist this restaurant. They're tying together in order to help make sure that this one does not fail by supporting one another. So we're seeing a lot of that.
And what is that up the street? It used to be a daycare center on Hardin Boulevard. What is that?
Well, I think that's another way. So it's Renita Williams, pediatric daycare center. So she deals with the most medically fragile kids that really need specialized attention. And so the beauty of her story was, I think 2 years ago, we were introduced, the mayor's office was introduced to Renita, and we helped her with, trying to find banking partners. She was able to secure a banking loan, I think from Essential Federal Credit Union. And then she was able to leverage that loan to actually move into a bigger space. the space, incidentally, that she's moving into on Harding used to be where she used to go to school.
Oh wow!
So it's full circle.
That's crazy.
So if you think about it, if I'm
True
I'm looking at it from 30,000 feet, if you look at the Plank Road Master Plan corridor, right, that Chris Tyson and Bill Baton Rouge is working on. If you think about Howell Place, if you think about the restaurant, if you think about what Renita Williams is doing on Harding, if you think about what Southern is doing with their master plan with CPEX, which is going to start to involve more community engagement and I think a much more aggressive approach to investing outside the walls of Southern, I think it's a pretty exciting time. It's all about working with Jerry and you guys and your listeners on
mayors and other folks.
How do we start to package these things in a way that we can start to pitch to investors?
Okay, well, good. So good things are happening in North Baton Rouge in economic development for our city, and I just wanted to spend some time acknowledging that, and hopefully it encourages others to do business and to start their business and run their businesses in North Baton Rouge. But we're here mostly to talk about these grant opportunities.
Yeah.
I know that the mayor's office and I think the Urban League announced a $1 million grant program. This is one grant that I haven't applied for yet, so I'm glad you're here on the show so that you can take me through the process.
And I will leave this with you.
So tell us about this grant that the mayor's office is now promoting for small businesses in across the parish, not just in North Baton Rouge.
So what we did was, in the response, as we were moving from phase 1 to phase 2 during COVID, the mayor basically said, we need to put together a group called Restart BR to help address some of the challenges that small businesses are having, but also people that have issues around childcare, issues around employment, and so on and so forth. And so it's a large group. Jerry's on it, and a bunch of other folks are on Restart BR, and it's an extension of the mayor's monthly business roundtable. So in one of the conversations that we had, we talked with John D'Angelo, who's the founder and CEO and founder of Investor Bank. As we started talking to him about the challenges that he sees as someone who processes PPP loans and EDIL loans, he said, Vineeth, one of the things that exists that is a gap among small businesses in Baton Rouge is a microgrant program.
Microgrant, absolutely.
Microgrant. So he's like, well, I'm gonna take ownership, and I'm gonna be the first to put in $100,000 to set up a microgrant, and I'm gonna challenge.
Shout out to Investor Bank for the $100,000 grant assistance with the grant program.
And they've got a potential branch on Harding that they're gonna.
They are looking at Harding. They did put an ATM there on Harding. I've been there several times.
So that's going to be, I think, a first step towards another investment on North Baton Rouge. But Investar said, I'm going to put in $100,000, and I want to challenge some of the other business communities to put in money. So Postal Wait in Netterville put in some money. The GMFS Mortgage put in money. ExxonMobil put in money. And so from the private sector, I think we raised close to $200,000. We were able to then leverage that nearly 5 times through the first round of CARES funding.
So CARES Act.
CARES Act.
And for those of you who don't know, CARES Act is the federal funding that came as a result of COVID-19. So it's COVID-19. So CARES Act dollars in partnership with some private banks.
Private banks, private entities.
Great.
CARES Act money. We selected Urban League to be the recipient of this first round of CARES funding because they've got a ton of expertise in helping small businesses. And a really big shout out to Rep James and the folks at the Urban League, Classy Duncan and Judy and all those folks, because they do a phenomenal job. And then I think we were able to get additional money and appropriations at the state level that Representative James was able to get to help sort of top it up. So it's $1 million, $2,500 microgrants. What we want to do is impact businesses that are in low and moderate income census tracts.
Okay, so
that's
folks, you hear that. The mayor and other private investor bankers here, as well as State Representative Ted James and others, have come together to put together a $1 million grant program for small businesses or businesses that are in our most economically depressed census tracts.
Right. So the focus of this $1 million is really disadvantaged business enterprises that are in low and moderate income census tracts.
Right. Short for DBEs.
DBEs, right? So veteran-owned, veteran service disabled, minority, and women business, right?
This is fantastic. This is what everyday Jerry, you and I find folks who say, we don't want any of those loans. Maybe we need something, just a micro loan or something small to help us out. So
And this is a micro grant, so you don't have to.
Micro grant.
So your
yeah.
listeners
Yeah.
and all of you guys, you don't have to pay this money back.
You do not have to pay it back. $2,500, right?
You do not have to pay it back.
And let me say,
Yeah.
one of the things that I really appreciate, I serve on a lot of committees, a lot of commissions, a lot of think tank groups, and oftentimes it's recorded, it's placed in a piece of paper, in a binder, and then put on the shelf somewhere. We sat on those phone lines on Zoom and kept saying, these businesses need help, these businesses need help, and Beneath and his group went out there and found the help. And so
because I mean,
not
the
too
audience
often
may
you
know
have
that
that.
I've worked in economic development
Yeah,
before, and a
right.
lot of these banks in
They're
the
not.
years prior, when I was at the table talking about grants, they said, "Well, we'll just do low
They
interest
hear you,
loans."
they just don't see
it.
James. How about this? Can we make a little profit off of it? And so to hear that we are at the stage now, especially after this pandemic, where there's small resources available that you don't have to pay back, I think that's
Correct.
great.
Well, it's
our
needed,
people.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think people need to sacrifice some
Yes.
element of profit,
Yeah.
especially in 2020.
Yeah,
I get it.
exactly.
So it's a million, and so we expect to impact probably well over 200 businesses.
So how do they apply?
You go to www.urbanleaguela.org/restart-EBR.
Okay, that's a lot. I'll have to post that.
You'll post that.
Is there a phone number?
There is not a
No,
phone number.
okay.
Everything is online.
So Urban League,
and they are
Louisiana.
Urban League. Classy
Correct.
Duncan and our team are hyper responsive. They are very responsive
Very
to people when they
knowledgeable.
So if you're interested in this $2,500 grant being offered by the City of Baton Rouge in partnership with Urban League and many private banks, I'm going to have Beneath to give the website one more time, but you can also inbox me on my Facebook page, or you can find Jerry, or you can call the mayor's office,
Yeah.
and someone will get you
Yeah.
that website. But give them the website.
So the website is www.urbanleaguela.org/restart-EBR.
Gotcha.
And that'll help you with application 1, which is really a quick form that you fill out online.
Correct.
You're going to need some documentation, but the moment you fill out the initial application and documentation, it takes anywhere between 7 and 10 days to get your $2,500 check.
Oh wow.
So it's
10-day
quick.
turnaround.
It's as soon as possible.
pretty
So-
Now,
aggressive.
here's also something that the mayor and I have talked about, and I know that you all know this. Many of our small businesses need help even with those applications.
Correct.
Even with the application that we're going to talk about next, the Main Street Recovery. I myself have sat down with about 10 people just to help walk them through, because again, the intimidation is often there.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a barber doesn't mean I know how
Yeah.
to go online and do all these things. I have someone else doing my taxes.
Right.
So I don't know what schedule B or C is, and so it can be intimidating. So is there a way that people can get assistance? Again, I haven't applied for this grant through Urban League and the mayor's office yet for $2,500. But what if someone just needed some help with
We're just assembling the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's important.
We actually have Louisiana Small Business Development Center
Okay.
on Southern's campus.
Okay.
They help with your business in totality. It
Gotcha.
does not matter from start to the point of you're tired of your business and ready to sell it off.
Gotcha.
They assist with it all. And so anytime we've had hiccups or people have had questions, they didn't understand the application process.
Exactly.
Ada Womack and her team, they sit down and they go through the user guide and
Good.
read up on
Good.
everything and do all the
So
free
they
plans
can call the
questions.
Small Business Development Center, or they can call your office.
Yes,
Jerry, right?
absolutely. And we always we get their information, and then we funnel that information to them,
Okay.
and that builds a relationship between
Absolutely.
the business,
Absolutely.
our office, and Ada's office, and that way we're able to kind of keep up with them and know how they're doing for our business.
So if you need help applying for the mayor's office $2,500 grant for small businesses, Jerry, give your phone number also, so that folks who need assistance, they can call your office for assistance in applying.
That number is going to be 225-921-3554. Again, 225-921-3554. Or you can email me at info@brnedd.com.
Great. I think we want as many people to apply for this program.
Absolutely.
And this is, and to your listeners, this is first come, first serve.
Mm-hmm.
So
go online and apply.
Yeah, the sooner. One thing I want to mention to your listeners, we're not going to stop at just a micro grant. One of the things that also is a gap in Baton Rouge is a micro loan product for DBEs, and so this is sort of step one. Once we understand how this program works, then we're going to start to pivot and then focus on building up a micro loan program focused on those businesses that need a line of credit from that's anywhere between $20,000 and $50,000.
And let me say, it's tough times now, but it's always been tough for minority businesses, veteran-owned, minority women-owned businesses, and so I'm extremely excited that again we had sessions, we talked, and folks listened and got out there and made this happen. And I mean, they've been very responsive, and so we want you all to go out and apply for these grant dollars so that Beneath can get even more excited and go out and get the right
raise more money.
Well, that's how it works. First of all, $2,500, any small business can utilize that for something.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
it can benefit in purchasing product and purchasing technology,
rent, utilities, basic
expenses. Absolutely.
Yes.
So a free $2,500 grant is very beneficial to businesses, especially post-pandemic.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Who may have even been shut down for a month or so, but still had to pay rent.
Right. Yes.
Okay, just because you weren't having customers doesn't mean that you didn't have rent to pay.
Correct.
And so that could definitely help folks out. And so and we want the money to be spent because as those of us that work in government know that if the money doesn't move, then people say, oh, there's not a need for it. You have folks out there who say, oh, well, they're fine, but we want you all to apply. Don't be intimidated by the application. Inbox me, give us a call, apply for the mayor's office $2,500 small business grant post the pandemic to help your small business. And it sounds like within 10 days max, you can have that money in your hands. So great turnaround time to the government. And thank you to the Urban League and State Representative Ted James and all of the banks that put up money for this. Thank you. We appreciate that. So now we want to try to get the state treasurer on the line. Let me see. I've never dialed from here. So let's see. Hi, my name is Dr. James Gilmore, and I'm calling for State Treasurer John Schroder for a morning radio show. James Gilmore. Okay, you can stay.
You know? Yeah, I just got this promotion. This is what Classy presented yesterday.
Classy is so professional.
And we'll post that. We'll post that online also.
They're wanting to team up with us, the Impact, to do business training. So the more the merrier, in my opinion.
Do you want to call Kerwin in here? Hello? I've never called anyone in before. I dialed 9. What does that mic mean?
This means you should be on speaker. And then put the mic in the speaker button.
Okay. She just hasn't come back yet. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, State Treasurer? What up?
Yes, sir.
How are you? Microphone goes fast.
Man, from one thing to the next, there are a lot of things going on.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on this call. You are on What's Going On, here in at WTQT 106.1 FM.
Good morning.
The listening audience, this morning's topic talks about the Main Street Recovery Grant that you all are administering through your office. And so we invited you to be on the call to basically tell us a little bit about the Main Street Recovery Grant, State Treasurer Schroder, as well as to talk about how individuals should go about applying for that grant.
Okay. We're on now?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, well, good. So this is a grant program created by the legislature. It's called the Louisiana Main Street Recovery Grant Program, administered by the Department of Treasury. It's pretty easy to find. It's at LouisianaMainStreet.com. That's a website. It's pretty self-contained. It's got a lot of information in it. It's got a lot of frequently asked questions. We have constantly, now that we're a month plus into the process, we're constantly tweaking the process. So, but basically, any business that has 50 employees or less can be qualified. There's some things that go along with that. You have to be in good standards with the Secretary of State. You have to have filed your taxes either in 2018 or 2019. As I said, you have to have at least 50 employees or less. And if you do those few things, and then you qualify. And the only other major factor is if you receive federal aid in the form of PPP or SBA money, that you have to have spent that money. You can't be sitting on money in the bank because you can't double dip with the money. So if you expended that money and you have additional expenses, then you can qualify for the grant, because the grant is a cost or reimbursement program. So it pays you for the expenses that you incurred during the pandemic. And now that we're staring at September, we've decided that we would pay you up to 9 months of your expenses. So if you could prove your expenses, and you have to be able to prove it. So if you have rent, then you either have to show your lease, or you have to show your checks, your check stubs, or your check statements. But you have to be able to prove your expenses. Now, yesterday, your listeners will hear it for the first time. Yesterday, I approved to where you can just show your taxes if you give a copy of your taxes. So let's say you're a business and you're applying, and you filed your taxes in 2018 and 2019. You hit all the other check marks that you've done. Then if you want to, you have the option of just showing a copy of your taxes. So you no longer will have to go find all your invoices, and there's a lot of people that struggle with that. We made that decision last night at about 6 p.m.
Thank you for that decision.
Yeah, we're hoping that makes it a little easier. And we've also, as I said, as the program sort of rolls along, you see where you're having your problems. So we're also allowing CPAs or any professional to help people fill out the application, and then
You went out there, State Treasurer Schroder.
Yeah, so we're hoping that helps as well. So that's it in a nutshell, but I can answer any particular questions you might have.
Okay, first of all, again, thank you to the Louisiana Legislature, and thank you, State Treasurer Schroder, for administering this program. As I know you know that it's much needed. Many businesses had to shut down or didn't have any customers as a result of the pandemic. So this relief is good relief. I myself run a small business, and I've applied, and I've helped about 10 other people apply, and I must say the application process online was quite simple, and I appreciate that. That's a good thing, being simple, by the way, because oftentimes small businesses, get intimidated. As I told my studio guests who I have with me today, someone from the mayor's office as well as the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District. I've run into so many people that are afraid to apply because again, just because you're a barber or you may run, you know what I mean, a catering business, you know, a lot of folks are intimidated by the application process. And so I've been encouraging folks to go online to Louisiana Main Street and apply. And now to hear that you all have waived, you know, a lot of them have been collecting their invoices and receipts since March, and they uploaded those. But to hear that now, if you just have your taxes done, and every small business, it's your responsibility to file taxes. So have your taxes done now, which is what you're only requiring. We think that's a great move, and thank you so much for that, State Treasurer Schroder, and to your staff. Now, how much can a business apply, or what's the maximum amount a business can receive through the Louisiana Main Street Recovery Grant?
Yeah, they can get up to $15,000. So what we're hoping is, and I want to go back to something and say what I'm hoping is people just, hey, let's just show my taxes. And I made the accountants agree last night, the consulting firm, because what happens is when you apply, when you put your application in, the system, we have the technology that goes in and checks to see if you've filed your taxes.
So it's cross-referenced.
It's gonna. So we probably almost 40% of our applications have been disqualified, and a lot of them are because they either said they didn't receive any federal aid, and they did, or they haven't filed their taxes. That's a large batch, but between the people who are fibbing on the application, not filing their taxes, aren't current with the Secretary of State, around 40% of the applications.
So we're going to let's talk about this, State Treasurer Schroder, because, you know, we've sort of mentioned this morning, and this is also all of my fellow small business owners out there. And what you're saying, State Treasurer Schroder, is what I live in, the work that I do in my consulting firm. Businesses, we need you all to file your taxes, okay? You cannot be an official business and access government grants, business loans, if you do not file your business taxes. And there are organizations out there like the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District, and I know in the mayor's disparity report it talked about providing the technical assistance to small businesses to be able to qualify for even city and state bids. So businesses out there, this is Dr. Gilmore speaking to you. It makes no sense for you to apply and be denied because you haven't filed your taxes. So let's be smart about how we do business operations and file your taxes, as well as let's be truthful on your application. You're not denied if you didn't receive PPP or SBA. They're just asking you to tell the truth that if you did, state that you received it. Right. Just acknowledge that you did receive money from SBA, because from what, and I'll let State Treasurer Schroder talk about it. You know, there was a amount set aside for minority business, but then there was a timeline to where people who received nothing sort of got from the federal government as a result of the pandemic, kind of got first dibs, I guess, for lack of a better term. And State Treasurer, you want to talk about that and that process and how that works, whether you receive benefits, PPE or SBA, and whether you didn't, as well as the minority portion you have for small businesses?
Right. So the first thing, if you did receive federal aid, that doesn't disqualify you.
Right.
You just have to show that if you got $5,000 in PPP money, you just have to show that you expended it.
Right.
You know, so you can't hit. A lot of people, unfortunately, not necessarily with the PPP money, but the SBA money. A lot of people just stuck that in the bank. So people who stuck that money in the bank, well, they're not qualified because they have money.
Right.
You know, but if you spent your money and you can show that you spent it, and you have to show invoices. If you receive $5,000 in PPP, well, I spent it all in payroll. Here's my payroll to show it. Then you qualified. And then on the minority situation, there's $40 million set aside for minority-owned businesses. $40 million. $40 million. And I would tell you, probably, if I had to say, you know, what's probably been the biggest success is our outreach to the minority communities, because probably about 70% of our applicants come from a minority group, whether that be minority women, veterans, or other minorities. So it's probably about running around 70% on average of the 21,000 applications that we have.
Wow. That's a very good number.
Yeah, and look, we have 21,000 applications, but that's 21,000 total applications. We're probably, out of that 21,000, we'll be lucky to get 15,000 good applications.
So there's work to do. And what you're doing, State Treasurer, is you're charging people like me, mayors across this state that have economic development arms and departments and all of these economic development districts around here. What you're doing, State Treasurer Schroder, is charging us to get out there with our small businesses and help them get their paperwork and their businesses in order so that they can qualify and not be denied. 40% denial rate for the reasons you mentioned, that's something that can be fixed.
It can be. Unfortunately, though, the only one that can be fixed is the Secretary of State. That's $25, $35. You go online, you can fix that.
Right.
The other things, if you're not filing your taxes, there's nothing I can do for you.
Right.
You know, if you run a black market business, I can't help you. You're really not even in business. As far as the government, and look, one of the things, and I'm a small business owner, have been for most of my adulthood, and people say, well, you know, the government never helps small business. Well, this is one reason I'm passionate about it. This is the first time that I've seen in my 11 years involved in politics where small business got a lifeline. Because this is $15,000 grant, and I could tell you how to spend it. You're not going to have to pay it back. It's not a loan, it's a grant. All you have to do is either show your taxes or show your expenses, and you can qualify up to $15,000. So it's a no-brainer. I want to give some credit to the Southern Business School. You know, in their they have helped a lot getting the word out. We've had a couple seminars in their building, but man, look, like Friday, I'm going to have 4 different meetings with mayors in Acadiana and their businesses, just trying to encourage the businesses to apply. I mean, this is like taking money from a baby.
When's the deadline to apply?
It's probably going to be sometime after Thanksgiving. So we got plenty of time, and we got plenty of money. So
plenty of time and plenty of money. You heard it here on what's going on from our state treasurer, John Schroder. So let's as he stated, and I've been in this business of politics and small business for a while also, state treasurer, and I haven't seen anything like this before either. And so we need, as small businesses, this is $15,000 goes a long way for many of our businesses. And we need to apply, and we need to make sure that our paperwork is in order. State Treasurer, you want to give the website one more time to the listening audience on where to apply?
Yeah, it's www.louisianamainstreet.com. If you go to that website, you will see where we have a call center that's operating 5 days a week from 8 to 8. If you want to email me or you want to call my office, my phone number is 225-342-0016. That comes directly into my office. If you have any questions, or if I can help you in any way, shape, or form, or if there's any groups out there that you want me to come and talk and sort of walk through the process, I'm happy to do that as well. Let me tell you, I didn't think it would be so hard to give away $275 million, but it's been a challenge.
$275 million in grant money.
Plenty of money.
And is this CARES Act money, State Treasurer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
CARES Act program that the legislature peeled off specifically for small businesses. So take advantage of it, man. You know, I told somebody last night, it takes about 2 hours if you go through the whole application. If you do the itemized way. Now we're going to provide you a way that you just show your taxes. And what it does is it takes your taxes, it looks at your itemized deductions, and now it's gonna give you an average of 9 months of those deductions.
Wow.
No questions asked.
You can't ask for nothing.
So I pledge to you, State Treasurer Schroder, and I'm sure the gentleman in this office with me from the Office of Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome and the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District. We're going to help increase the number of applicants who qualify from East Baton Rouge Parish. We're going to ensure that you have more completed full applications so that we can have as many small businesses in East Baton Rouge Parish who benefit from this program. And I want to thank you so much again for being on my show via telephone this morning. I know you're a busy state treasurer, and I want to thank you again for joining the show.
You're welcome, anytime, keep in touch.
Okay, have a great one.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, gentlemen,
That's a lot of money.
we have work to do.
Plenty of time, plenty of money. But I'll tell you, and
I've never heard a treasurer that say plenty of time and
Right.
plenty of money.
$275 million to give away to small businesses, up to $15,000 grants. All you need are your taxes now. And he's had a 40% denial rate because people
And I'm not
don't file
surprised.
taxes, or they lied on their application saying they didn't receive federal money from PPP or SBA, and they did. I received SBA loan money. I reported that money
Right.
when I applied.
It's a little.
You know?
I don't want to say I'm okay. So I'm kind of in the trenches, right?
Mhm.
So we went through the program of introducing the
Yes.
treasurer and having him come
And he spoke.
on campus and
Mhm.
speak to the constituents who were applying for the loans, for the grant. When he walked out of the room, we continued having more dialogue with them,
Mhm.
and they felt they kind of came open about how they've been doing their businesses, right?
Mhm.
A lot of small businesses get it how they live, so to
Yeah,
speak.
they don't. Yeah,
They
you're right.
they fake it till they make
Yeah.
it. They
Yeah.
they do whatever it takes in order to survive, and so paperwork is not always their best friend.
They're experts in whatever their business is.
Correct.
They're barbers, they're caterers.
Correct.
I'm an HR consultant
Spot
with a
on.
PhD in human resources. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to know how to handle QuickBooks with my
Correct.
finance and
Right.
accounting. I have to find someone
Correct.
to do that.
And
Yeah.
so one of the things that they've all walked out of the room thinking, well, they didn't walk out of the room. They came in the room thinking that it was okay to show absolute loss on their taxes. That the more that they could claim loss on their taxes, the better it was because they didn't have to pay taxes.
Gotcha.
We had to explain to them that if you go into a bank and you're taking in your tax files and they look and they see that the business isn't making any money, they begin to ask a question of what if you're investing in this business that's not making money by way of taxes, why would my
So,
bank?
in other words, what you're saying, businesses listen, not always filing for loss is a good thing
Correct.
as a small business.
Correct.
And let's just say
So,
that's what it is.
that's exactly
Right.
what
Because
it
many
is.
small businesses do that because it's of advantage to them when it comes to
Correct.
filing their taxes.
but the problem then becomes, so it's like you're kicking the can down the road.
Correct.
Because you could be a really good business, but you've been, you've been
Yes.
trying to save every single cent, which
Exactly.
makes, look, I get it.
Especially this time.
And
I
it
get
makes
definitely.
look, I get it. It makes absolute sense. I have met so many business owners that are even commingling personal
Mhm.
and business credit.
Right.
And because of that, their credit scores are down.
Mhm.
But now's the time to start building
There you go, Benita.
on it, sort of
Yes.
building and eliminating each of those problems.
And
Yeah.
separating
Because
business
I'll tell
from
you,
personal.
the more you do that, and the more businesses we see that have their documentation in
Yes.
order, and it is, look, and it's just documentation. If you just need
Right.
documentation that's order, then the same documentation that's needed for their treasury secretary is the
Exactly.
same documentation that we need here. So when we're talking about
Correct.
15,000, think about it as it's really 17,500
Right.
because it's
Right.
the 15,000 plus the 2,500.
Right.
So that's one thing.
And you need that for your SBA loan, and you need
Correct.
your grants
And
Correct.
and loans. And
You're spot on.
if you
Correct.
open, if the mayor's office launches a micro loan program, you're going to need it for that.
Yep.
So
Correct.
this is like as I stated to State Treasurer Schroder, this is a charge to us
Correct.
in this room to help our small businesses get it together.
Yeah.
Because $275 million. All of those legislators that fought for this money to be allocated for the set aside of $40 million for minority-owned businesses. How many years have minority-owned businesses been asking for grants in this state?
For the longest.
Well, then we can't next year report back to the legislative auditor or the governor that we
Right.
had 50% denial rate.
Correct.
And we got millions that hasn't been spent.
Correct.
Because a whole lot of people are then going to say, "I told you so."
I told you so.
And we can't let that happen, okay?
Right.
So this concludes our show, gentlemen. I'm sorry, we're
Wow,
going to get an
it went
hour.
quick.
Thank you so much for joining me. Again, 2 grant programs out there. The Louisiana Main Street Recovery, administered by the State Treasurer's Office. Thank you, State Treasurer Schroder, for joining us on the call, as well as the City of Baton Rouge, the Mayor's Office, in partnership with the Urban League, as well as other private investors. They have a $2,500 grant program out there. If you have any questions about those grants or you missed this show, inbox me on Facebook or call the Mayor's Office, and many of you all know how to reach me. Again, thank you so much for tuning in every Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with What's Going On. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and have a fantastic day.
Hold on, wait. There we go. This camera's going.
This stuff on. Good show, y'all.
That was really